This app is in the App Store right now. I built it entirely with AI. Most people these days from a non-technical background who want to build a mobile app that go on a fairly similar journey. It starts with the app builder platforms, Base44, Rork, and Lovable. Amazing demos, incredible marketing, totally shit long-term results. These tools are great at version 1. You type a prompt, you get an app. And then the loop starts. Every fix breaks something else. Before you know it, you're burning credits, previews are breaking and you can't debug them, and that's before you even think about native mobile app development and App Store deployments. If that feels familiar, you've probably heard of the alternative as well, running everything locally on your own laptop with a local AI coding editor. My app is called Climate Nomad. I actually used to work as a weather forecaster before I became a software engineer. I also have a lot of interest in traveling, and I always wanted to build an app where you could put in a month and find out the climate for particular locations and figure out where the best places to go are at any given time of the year. But these visuals were so complex to code that before AI, I would spend weeks and weeks at a time trying to figure it all out and trying to make it happen. So I wanted to try it again in the AI era, and honestly, the hardest parts of it got thrown together in about an hour. With a local editor, your code lives on your machine, on your own laptop, and your phone shows progress in real time, and you have access to all of the native mobile features as you build. No black box, nothing breaks silently in the cloud. So I'm going to show you 3 different AI coding editors in this video: Cursor, Antigravity, and VS Code with Claude Code. Let's start with Cursor. So head on over to cursor.com and click the download button for whatever operating system you have. Once installed, open it up. And here's the first thing to understand about these local AI editors and how they differ from the cloud tools like Lovable or Bolt. Opening a project isn't like opening a project in the cloud. You're opening a folder on your local machine. I'll do that in a second, but first I need access to my AI model, and so I'm going to need to click sign in. So go ahead and create an account, and then you'll have access to the LLM that we're going to use. Now to open a project, I'm actually just going to create a new folder on my local machine. I'll call it Climate Nomad, and that's it. It's just sitting there on my laptop. It's like any other folder, so I'll just click open, and now it will give me a blank slate with nothing in it. On the left, I'm going to see my files. On the right, I've got my AI agent. And I can choose how the agent thinks, and I can also choose the model that it's going to use. Notice how Cursor gives you options between OpenAI, Anthropic, and even Google. Now, these local first AI editors, they differ from the ones in the cloud in a pretty fundamental way. The cloud ones are super opinionated. That means if you go to Lovable and you ask it for a habit tracking app, it's going to try to build it using a library called React. If you tell it not to use React, it's probably going to get confused and make a mess. But when it comes to something like Cursor, it's not opinionated in that way. So it's really helpful to know what framework you're going to use in advance, and I'll tell you what that is right now. I am building a mobile app, so I want to use not React, but a library called React Native, which is different. So my initial prompt would be something like this. So here's the prompt. Go ahead and scaffold a React Native with Expo application using the create command for React Native, install the necessary dependencies, and then run the start command to verify it, and then kill it. Notice what I didn't write. I didn't write build me a climate app that has this feature and that feature. Those kinds of prompts are designed for the cloud builders like Lovable. They don't work with Cursor because Cursor is so flexible. This is the reason why you run into problems later with cloud-based builders that you don't run into with tools like Cursor. And a key thing here is to build the app piece by piece. First, we're going to scaffold it, and then we'll build the features on top of that scaffold. We aren't going to dive right into features. That's a mistake. And so when I run this command, it's going to create the initial files that I need for this code base. So that prompt is finished running. The really cool thing about React Native is that I can actually run this code in real time on my phone. So the AI has produced a super basic welcome screen in this scaffold. And if I throw down new prompts, I can actually just run them, and I can literally watch the UI change on my physical device as I go along. So I've asked for a light theme, and now it's being applied. And I also asked to center the text. This is all happening on my actual phone. I'm not showing you a simulator. This is an actual screencast from my device. Now here's where things get interesting when it comes to Cursor and other AI code editors. My project doesn't depend on Cursor at all. I'm gonna close it. My project is just a bunch of files sitting here in my projects folder. I could literally work on this for weeks, get bored of Cursor, and then try out Antigravity. So I'll head to antigravity.google, download from my operating system, and then try it out. Antigravity actually has a really nice free tier, but it works in the same principle as Cursor. You just open up a folder, which is just the same as opening up a project. I can just navigate to Climate Nomad and hit open, and here I have all the same files that I had in Cursor. Once again, you have a choice of models. Of course, it's more oriented towards Google, but you've got your Anthropic models as well. Antigravity, of course, has its own quirks that differentiate it from Cursor, but the truth is that the differences between Antigravity and Cursor are realistically only going to arise as you become more advanced. When you're just starting out, it might actually be difficult to distinguish the two. For now, I'm just gonna hide the files completely, and let's type a prompt. Most mobile apps have tabs and nav bars, so let's add one for this app. We'll have one for Explore, Search, and let's say Profile. Now we've switched code editor here, and that means that Antigravity is gonna have to have a look at the entire code base and figure out what it's doing. But the thing is that when you clear context in Cursor or another LLM tool, it will do this anyway. So that prompt is finished. I'll just hit refresh, and then we get our tabs appear. One for Explore, one for Search, and one for Profile. And we'll fill all of these pages in as we go along. But now I'm bored of Antigravity, so I'll go ahead and close out of it and head for my third co-editor, which is gonna be VS Code. VS Code is just the same. I head up to Open Folder, and then I open up my project folder. That's all there is to it. It also has a file editor. It also has an AI agent. In this case, it's Copilot. But at this point, you've probably noticed something. Antigravity, VS Code, and Cursor, they all look pretty similar, don't they? You got the File Explorer, you got Git, you've got your run and debug. This is the same in Antigravity as it is in VS Code. And it's also the same in Cursor, although the icons are placed slightly differently. You still have the same options. That's because Cursor and Antigravity, and actually also Windsurf and Kiro and a whole bunch of other AI editors, they're all based on VS Code. They're what's known as forks. So this is an open source project that's made by Microsoft. VS Code has been around for a very long time, and I have been using it for a very long time myself. It predates the AI LLM revolution by many, many, many years. And honestly, I still prefer VS Code. Maybe that's because I've just been using it for so long, but I just can't really see the difference that these other editors bring. So my go-to agent is actually Claude Code. And Claude Code is a terminal-based LLM tool. This one, of course, uses the Anthropic models, the current one being Claude Opus 4.6. And this one is terminal-based. If you're totally new to all of this, terminals might seem intimidating, but trust me, they are not magical. So now I'm going to use Claude to build out the authentication system for my application. I'm going to use the backend tool Supabase, and I'm going to implement sign in with Google and sign in with Apple as well. In the end of the day, when you're choosing a code editor to use, there's a lot of personal preference to it. I honestly find that when you're just starting out, it's hard to go wrong in choosing code editors if they are running locally as AI agents. And that's because there's no vendor lock. You can switch between them at any moment and just use them interchangeably. So just try them all, use the free tiers. Once you stop using cloud-based platforms like Lovable or Replit, the whole thing will open up for you. You won't ever be vendor locked, you won't be charged insane money for token credits, and you'll have the flexibility you genuinely need for getting your app deployed. My app is now ready to hook up to Supabase and get authentication going, but for that I need to get set up properly with not just my code editor, but my entire locally running development environment. So join me in the next video where I'll be getting everything set up to take this app from the concept stage right through to getting published in the App Store.